It's done, finally. Now we've just got to get over the 2 to 3 days of embarrassment that our club's just put us through. But we can get back to being excited again because it hasn't been unveiled, but X has just updated that the agreement is in place now. It's all done. The deal with Potter is agreed. He's expected to take over. It's looking like it's a 6-month deal with certain achievable KPI targets. What they are, we don't know. That if triggered, will extend that deal to 2.5 years. So I'll get into what I think about that very, very shortly. If you are new to this channel, as a lot of you are, please subscribe and don't forget, drop a like on the video. I'm starting to get excited again already. I'm up and down. I'm up and down. I wasn't happy with the Potter link initially. I wasn't. I'm going to be honest with you. You all know this anyway. You know this. But I've really warmed to the idea. I accept the position that we are now in. I accept that we are not an attractive proposition. You've got to look at not just the football team that are not playing for the manager, for the fans, the backroom mess that we've got. And I'm going to go on to talk about that in a minute as well. But Potter had a very good career, very successful, up until he went to Chelsea, which was a failure. He got eaten alive. The second successive failure for a manager is not a good look. It's bad. It could be quite fatal to a manager's career. You know, he might even have to start again at the bottom. So I'm kind of grateful to the man that he's willing to risk the reputation that he's built up on West Ham. He must back himself because he must do, you know. And I can understand why. We've got a lot of talent in this team, and a lot of them will suit the way that Potter approaches football, and we'll make another video about this in the coming days once it is unveiled. But no, I am grateful that he's joined, and I hope he absolutely smashes it. I really do. I do think that his philosophy to football and his style of play will suit West Ham. I think he'll be a calming influence rather than the two angry blokes that we had before in Moyes and Lopetegui. I think this will be a different approach. I think it will fit. So this is a good appointment, I think. I hope to not be proven wrong on this. No, I hope to be proven wrong because I was saying how bad Potter would be if he came in. I'm on record as saying that before. I hope that he comes in and completely and utterly proves me wrong. And the more that I was being ignorant because I didn't really look too much into what Potter had done before. I have now. I'm getting more and more excited about it. I do think he's going to fit. You know, as John mentioned in his video yesterday, how many failures has Nuno Espirito Santo had? And now look at him at Forest. So you can't write people off and discard them based on what they've done before if they've struggled. You know, it can go the other way. You can get somebody and who's been completely successful the whole way through. They come in, they don't fit. So it's always a gamble. Welcome to the club, Mr. Potter. Mr. Potter, glad to have you. Thanks for doing it. Whether or not he's going to be in charge for the Villa game or not, we don't know yet. But Lopetegui will not be. His press conference was cancelled today, rightly so. He hasn't been released yet as of recording this video. We're assuming that's coming next. And what will happen is, if Potter is not in charge, there will be a caretaker team, a combination of, I'm assuming, Brown, Potts, Noble as well, to sort of take us into that FA Cup game, to give us something left to play for this season. It's going to be interesting to know what the criteria is that he will need to meet in order to trigger this deal. That's going to be interesting. Is it just going to be a top 10 finish, or are we going to be ambitious and go for I think European places could go down to 8th place. Very achievable. We're only 10 points, I believe, off of 7th or something like that. So we're not far away. We're not far away. The next exciting thing is going to be going out there, getting the business done, the transfer business, because he has been assured signing. So that's going to be good. The next thing and the final thing that I do want to talk about. Now, you know that I've been flying the flag for Tim Steidten for a long, long time, and a lot of you are not going to agree with me on this because I've been sort of stamping my feet and digging my heels in. Look, it isn't the fans' fault. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's Sullivan's fault if Tim Steidten was the wrong appointment. We all believed that Tim Steidten was the key figure in the Leverkusen revolution that took place over about 3 years, where they built this amazing team that went on and just, took European football by storm, won the Bundesliga, was just done a clean sweep last season, didn't they? As it's turned out, the more you read, it's different in German football. They have teams of people that run these operations, these technical operations. He was just a member of that technical team. He wasn't at the top. So he wasn't solely responsible, if responsible at all, for all of their recruitment and their philosophy at the club. He wasn't. In fact, the reason that he left was because the top position came up, the top tier position, he was overlooked. And he got the ump and he left. He hasn't actually done a director of football role yet. This is the first time. So there isn't a body of work there to prove that he could do what we thought he could do. And that isn't the problem alone, because the recruitment in the summer wasn't great. It wasn't. But there's definitely red flags there. I believe that a director of football is almost a covert back of house role. I don't think they should tread on the toes of the head coach or the manager. The training ground and the changing room, that should be their domain. They should stay well out of that. They should have an input, and have a relationship to a degree, but ultimately you don't butt your nose in. It's been very clear since day one that Tim Steidten has wanted to be a celebrity himself. He loves being photographed in the tunnel. We know that he's in the changing room, or he was. We know that he's always at the training ground talking to players, which has been part of the problem. Apparently, he's quite a toxic influence, which could have been part of the reason why Lopetegui's had so many fallings out with players, because there are more than have been reported, which are the 5: Areola, Alvarez, Fulkrug, Todibo, and Kudus. There's more. So, yeah, it does strike me. There is no smoke without fire. And I'm all for the director of model. I don't want this to be the end of that, because I don't want to go back to Sullivan choosing targets. That's no good at all. But if this guy is no good, and from what we have to work with at the moment, yes, Moyes was going to fall out with whatever director of football it was, because he's old-fashioned and he doesn't like anyone threatening his power. So I don't blame Tim for that one solely. But now we've got a second instance as well with Lopetegui, and the same thing's happened. He's been banned from the training ground again. So I just think it's time to go back to the drawing board. There's too much toxicity surrounding this man now. He hasn't burned bridges. He's blown them up by the sound of it. And I think that Sullivan needs to do the same with him. I appreciate he probably doesn't want to pay him off. He's diminishing his role. He's trying to embarrass him so that he walks away. Just stop fucking around. If he's a toxic influence, get him out of the club. Because that news that broke after the crisis meeting on Monday morning and was leaked immediately to TalkSport was likely from him. We know that he talks to Romano. Like I said, he wants to be a superstar. He signs a player. It's a picture of Tim smiling on a jet. Who does that? Who does that? He's a director of football. He's not a star striker. Just do your fucking job quietly. That's all you've got to do. But he clearly doesn't want that. So that type of character, I don't think, is going to be any good for West Ham. We've got too many big egos here already. There's loads of them. We've got Sullivan, the bloke who owns the club. You've got Brady, who likes to get in on the act. And whatever manager, rightly so, has to be seen as the main man. He's going to tread on their toes, not help them, because he hasn't done so far. I don't think we can risk Steidten falling out with a third manager. We can't. It may not all be him. It might not be. But there's loads more directors of football out there. There's one in Dan Ashworth who's worked with Potter before. If he's available and Potter's keen, I think that we should reunite those two. That's not a risk. They've worked with each other before. There'll be a relationship there. So, yeah, I'm really excited. The work is not yet done. It's not, because the Tim thing is going to evolve. Relieved for Lopetegui. Relieved for him. That this misery is now over. He's going to get paid off and go and sun himself for a few years before memories fade and he gets offered a job somewhere else. And Gollum Bellegay will be going out there sort of just telling lies about him to another club's fan base like he did to ours. So he's gone. Potter's come in. Good signing. Looking forward to it. In the current situation, very good appointment. And Steidten will move on. But then it's going to be that frenetic transfer window, because we have got lots of gaps that need to be filled. If Potter has been given targets to meet, they're going to need to give him the tools with which to achieve it. There's still too many gaps in this squad. So, yeah, look, all good. I'm happy. I'm happy at the moment. The mood's coming up again. The cheeks ain't rosy yet, but they'll get there. They'll get there. Right, I hope you all have a fantastic day. We're all going to be waiting eagerly for the official announcements of Lopetegui's departure and Potter's announcement as new head coach. But, it's done now. It's done. It's finished. Claret and Booze, as it turns out, we did save West Ham. All right? Speak to you all soon. Come on, you Whites.